How did you discover, like the first studio you've ever went to record? Like, what brought you to that studio?
Well, this was technically not a studio, but my boy Telly Prego, who I was in a group called Gas Mask Colony with, and we grew up together, went to middle school and high school together. He had a program on his computer that he downloaded through LimeWire called Cool Edit Pro.
Oh yeah,
you know about that?
I remember that.
And he had a Radio Shack mic that was like this big, and we would record little freestyles and stuff over there. Then through a community program at a place called Horizons Unlimited, they had this thing called the DJ Project, still around today. So they brought kids into the actual studio to learn how to count bars, how to record, how to do doubles, how to perform, how to hold the microphone.
This is after you already been doing freestyles.
Yeah, this was just me. But those freestyles were kind of picking up traction around my friends.
For sure.
So like people who knew us already from freestyling and being at parties, and just, there was 4 of us, so it was a whole different spread of people that we were reaching. And then when I got to this program, I saw how they made it all official. And I guess that's another thing as I'm thinking about it, like to get into the history stuff, just being around people like that in the educational community space too.
Right.
Where they were like intentional about putting younger people onto certain things.
And that kind of thing helps, like when you have a teacher, for example, like early on, that I liked cracking jokes, and then teachers put me on to Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Really just pushes that little part of your psyche into that even more.
Yeah, it goes a long way.
Big time.
Yeah.
And I think those people that do that, man, it's a blessing for a lot of us that don't have access to certain things, like certain books, certain shows growing up.
Right.
Where it kind of validates the art for you, or if it is an art or whatever it is, it validates like, oh shit, you could actually make a living out of this, or
yeah,
it's a way bigger thing than just scribbling on a book.
Yeah. You got to expand your knowledge base if you want to pursue something. You got to know how it's been done previously and formulate your own ideas around that.
What like when you first, it looks like you first got into the hip hop thing before you got into graffiti, or is that do you see them all in the same?
I don't see any difference because graffiti was all around me as a kid. Like a lot of the stuff I covered from the early 90s when I was really young, like I remember seeing it.
Yeah.
Some of these things made an impression on me. At the same time, I'm talking like my earliest memories.
Yeah.
Same with rap, whether it's Sir Mix-a-Lot or Criss Cross on TV after school, KMEL, The Wake Up Show.
Yeah.
I was listening to all this stuff. I was trying to freestyle when I was a young kid, writing rhymes as a young kid, trying to just play around with it. And same with art too, comic books, drawing. Like, when you're a young kid in a city environment, it's like competitive thing. Like, oh, he plays basketball hella good. Oh, he can dance hella good. Oh, he can draw hella good. You're looking for all these little things that make you stick out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I see that, because when I was younger, like in my middle school, high school, I hung out with a lot of kids who were into graffiti.
Right.
They carry a black book with them.
Right.
Their skateboards were all, pieced up.
Right.
And the thing that I saw, it was the competition aspect of it kept them trying to move on to better themselves.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah. And I think that's one of those things that is very helpful because it's competitiveness, but it's not like a greedy thing.
No, you just want to get your shine on, and it helps you get better, and you compete with your friends. Yeah. And that stuff helps you grow.
Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
Goes, oh, you did that, I'm about to do this.
Exactly.
Same with rhymes.
Exactly.
Yep. Sure,
Of course. I mean, we grew up battling.
Yeah.
A lot of battles. Like I lived an old school hip hop kind of life just organically.
Right.
I didn't see like a TV show like, I'm gonna copy this TV show. It's just like, oh, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay, what's up?
Yep.
And some of those people I was battling with like went on to be friends. And then you start building this community of other people who are putting out CDs, rocking shows, and then, it builds from there.
Can you explain the origin of your MC name, Dregs One? Like, what was the process in coming up with that?
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of my own name, but it's too late at this point to change it up. I don't feel like changing it up. It's a graffiti name, but I didn't write it for that long, so I didn't like cover the CD in this name. I saw it in the beginning of Scarface. There's this little writing where he talks about the boats coming to America, and he says he sent over the dregs of his prisons.
Right.
And I had just got caught for another name before that, so I needed to change it. I'm like, ooh, those are some tight letters. Dregs. Started tagging that, and then got caught for that name. In school, I was just destroying the school like an idiot. Never. I don't know where the camera is, but never tag at your school or around your school. It's too hot.
Big mistake.
Yeah, because they was just like they were like. They came to see me one time. I was already tagging on some papers in class, and they came to get me, and they're like, oh, bring that.
Yeah.
And they was like, we were wondering who's.
They take pictures too sometimes, huh?
All that. I went through all of it. They were like, who's tall enough to hit some of these spots, and who's always in the hallways, and it's you. And I got busted. I had to go to court, all that stuff. Shit. Yeah. So I had to I had to stop writing Dregs after that, but people just kept calling me that.
Okay.
It was like my street name, basically. Where some people knew me only as Dregs at that point.
I think of whenever like a writer gets caught and he has to change his name, like when luchadors, where they take off, they get unmasked.
They've been dismantled.
Now they gotta come up with a new character. That's what that reminds me of, because I saw a lot of like friends that I grew up with, like, oh, the cops pulled him over, and I know one cat used to carry a book with a made up name, so that if he did get caught, the cops would see that fake name that he only wrote on there, and they didn't know his real.
I never heard that before. That's smart. That's planning ahead right there.
Yeah, just so that he wouldn't get caught, and they say, oh, we've never seen this fucking name, so
Yeah, once they have you on paperwork, that stays in your records. So anytime you get busted under that same name, they can just pull it right up. Like, I'm super burnt right now as a graffiti writer. If I was to get wrapped up anywhere in California at this point, just because of my record and my public, even if I switched my name and I got caught, it'd be like, oh, that guy, the guy who's all over, because I know they've been watching me for years, even before I was doing this content. I know that for sure. So, and I'm sure I don't break the law anymore, guys. Nothing to see.
We need to up our game and shit. We need to do comedy butt naked, right?
I remember this dude.
For you, but we'll take you.
He started saying his goodbyes.
At the end, I just remember the guy coming up and giving me the check, and he goes, "Yeah, that'll be our last time."
When the Beatles, wrote the White Album, did they have to like pass it in front of some drunk that had so